Hello and welcome to my beta video. So, post-poetry is what comes after the pen is put down. It is a change in mindset that evolves with time, personal growth, and acceptance. I started this project in BCM 114, originally with a blog, and then progressed to an Instagram in the same subject. Essentially, I would choose a piece of poetry that I'd written in the past, whether it was a year or two ago or a couple months ago. And through the blog, I would unpack the themes in the poems and discuss how my thoughts and opinions had changed in the time that followed writing the poem. The Instagram was a way for me to direct people to the blog. However, I found that the blog wasn't as popular as the Instagram was, as most people these days kind of go on social media rather than read blog posts. So for BCM 241, I've decided to develop this same project into a podcast. So I'm adding another element to what I already have. Each episode will be based on a poem. The format is perfect for facilitating a conversational feel rather than a blog post. And I believe more people are likely to listen to it as they can do so while they're in a car or while they're working out, so they can easily multitask. So now I'll go into a bit of my auto-ethnographic approach. I listened to the podcast Interesting People Reading Poetry by the Sturmer Brothers and documented my experience. I also did this for the platforms that it's available on and rated my experience with using each platform. I then noted the epiphanies I had whilst doing this process, which have definitely shaped the way that I have produced my content. So developing the persona, I looked at the vibe that I wanted to portray. So there's some keywords. I then had to juggle the different elements of my persona, so my personal Instagram and using that to direct people to the post-poetry platforms, and essentially just understanding that I could have audiences on each of the different platforms that don't then look at the other ones, so each thing needs to stand by itself. Challenges I faced were overlapping micro-publics, so having people from work listening to the podcast and having to have content that is appropriate for that setting as well as the setting that I want, which took away free agency, and mediatizing myself and my experiences and becoming okay with being vulnerable to a public audience. I believe my podcast has a lot of inherent value. The most basic being that it gives people something to listen to, but further than that, I believe it stimulates important conversations. So far, I've created one 18-minute long podcast. I did 2 takes and went with the second one as it was clearer and more coherent. And so far, I've had 91 downloads. My audience's feedback suggests that I'm on the right track, with some suggestions of how to make it more enjoyable next episode. Thank you for watching. Please read on to see more information.